Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about calm down if you want to lose weight, because your stress is probably one of the biggest factors in why you're struggling to lose weight. When you are stressed, everything works against you in terms of weight loss. Your cravings get worse, your hunger gets worse, your mindset's worse, and your ability to stop yourself from doing the wrong things gets worse. So again, probably the most valuable thing you could do in terms of your weight loss is to start making your calm, your relaxation, your peacefulness a primary focus in your life. And the beauty of that is that not only will it help you lose weight most of the time, but it also instantly increases the quality of your life. Because when you are stressed out, you're not thinking clearly. Literally, what's going on when you're in a stress state, you're activated your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight, flight, or freeze mode. And in a fight, flight, or freeze mode, the blood goes from our brain down to our body so that we can fight, flight, or freeze. And when you calm down and relax, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, your pause and plan system. And now the blood flows back up to your brain, specifically your prefrontal cortex, and you can think more clearly, calmly, and you have more access to your mental resources. And so you could have the same situation in life, but if you look at it from a stressed fight or flight response, you're very reactive and you're not thinking clearly. You can look at the same situation from a calm point of view and you can see things completely differently. Notice completely different things, have completely different ideas and solutions popping into your head. And this is going on with your weight loss, that when you think about weight loss at this point, most likely you elicit an even more acute state of stress. And it's causing you to loop through the exact same conversations in your head, the same feelings that you have, and ultimately the same behaviors that keep you stuck being overweight. And so ironically, one of the easiest ways to lose weight is to start making your relaxation and calm a central piece of the process. Because again, it lowers your hunger typically, it improves your cravings, it allows you to see things more clearly, and it helps you to make better food choices and decisions in your life. So relaxing really is one of the most beneficial things you can do to master your weight. So I hope you take it more seriously. If you have no idea how to relax, you can go to programyourselfthin.com or click the link in my bio if you're watching this on social media and get the free hypnosis session I give you. It's completely free. It's a 10-minute session that will help you relax and put all sorts of good ideas in your head. It's a weight loss kickstart session, but it also is going to help you relax. And if you listen to this, I think you'll understand that you can relax way more than you thought possible. And once you relax and calm yourself down, I think you'll be amazed at how much easier weight loss can be. So I hope this helps you out. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. Let's slide into Tuesday. I feel like Tuesday, but it's Wednesday. SSQ says, I have PCOS. It's so hard for me to lose weight. What should I do? I work with people with PCOS and Hashimoto's and insulin resistance, all these things. And the solution is always the same, but it's a little extra highlighted for you with the physical issues. And that's to really focus on the lifestyle piece. So not just changing your eating, but really, really, really dive into the lifestyle piece. And when I say lifestyle piece, I'm talking about 8 habits specifically in order of importance: proper sleep, hydration, relaxation, breathing, nourishment, movement, meditation, gratitude. And if you start to introduce these and weave these into your life, you get lots of positive physical benefits from it. You get lots of positive mental and emotional benefits too. But we're talking about when you have a physical issue like PCOS, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, menopausal issues, hormonal issues. All of these are physical based issues. And so when you really focus on your lifestyle piece, you start to get your body, physical body, working more optimally and start supporting you. So again, we all have to deal with mindset and eating as well. But I think when you have a physical challenge as part of your journey here, I think really focusing on the lifestyle piece is one of the most important things you can do. So that's kind of my suggestion, regardless pretty much of the response. But certainly if you have PCOS, I think those are even more important. But at the end of the day, no matter what your physical situation is, weight loss comes down to reducing your calorie consumption over time. And how you make that happen is really the game to some degree. What's up, Lorena? Lorena says, walking right now and listening, trying to hit 10,000 today, only 1,500 steps to go. Nice job. Yeah, 10,000 steps is great accomplishment, but understand, folks, that 10,000 steps is a bit arbitrary. I've seen studies that it's more about getting at least 7,000 steps is a nice place. 10,000 steps has got its extra benefits, but don't let yourself be all or nothing in terms of just the 10,000. If you get 7,000 steps, great job. All right. But nice job, Lorena. It's nice to hit the 10,000 steps. That's a goal you set for yourself. Again, it's a goal I've set for myself. It's a nice one when you hit it, and it can, it can encourage other positive changes in your life as well. So nice job with that. Yeah. How's everyone doing with their weight loss? This week is funny. Excuse me. Yeah, Lorena says 8,000 is good, right? Yeah, anything over 7,000 is what I've seen. That's kind of the number. Right around the 7,000 number is kind of the where you want to shoot for. And I gotta go. I got 1,500 steps so far today. I gotta get my dog out for a walk. But I had kind of a busy day today. Getting back, and that's what I was gonna say. This week's funny. I mean, don't feel alone, folks, if you want to lose weight. And this week here, you're struggling a little bit. This week here, I think of this week as like a re-entry week for a lot of people, meaning you're coming out of the summer mode. You probably finished the summer a little bit off track potentially. And you had the vacation this week. If you're in America, you had the Monday vacation. And this week now feels like, oh, well, next week will be the week. And that's not an unusual thought. There's nothing wrong with have a re-entry week where you start to get yourself back to normal. And then next week you can kind of kick off a bit. Lorena says, mine was 4 to 6,000 and now I'm trying to make 7 to 10. Yeah, it's wonderful because 4 to 5 is too little. Yeah, again, everything's relative too. I mean, I can tell you my story with the steps is probably 3 years ago, I believe. I was like, okay, I want to get 10,000 steps. And I was doing pretty well. And I started getting probably from about July to December, I was getting about 10,000 steps a day consistently. And then the winter came and I kind of dropped a bit. But then right around the spring, I kicked right back into it. Got my dog, took the dog for a walk every day. Last year, I was hitting 10,000 steps regularly. Then in August, the end of August, I broke my foot. So now my walking would dwindle down to very little. And now here I am this year. And I don't know what's going on. I haven't got my walking back to 10,000 steps regularly. So I know that when I'm not really motivated and focused on 10,000 steps, it's not impossible for me to hit 3,000 steps in a day. And so when I tell myself what steps I want to hit, I carry the 10,000 in my head. I want to get at least 7,000, but I know that it's not crazy for me to get 2,500, 3,000 steps. So if I hit 5,000, I feel happy with that because that's better than 3,000. So again, what I'm trying to say to you, again, this falls into the all or something mindset that, yeah, 10,000 steps is cool. And I felt great doing it. Physically, mentally, emotionally, it was nice. I enjoyed it. But when I don't hit those things, I keep it in context as well. And so is 4,000 to 5,000 too little? Well, it depends. If you typically walk 2,000 steps a day, 4,000 to 5,000 is wonderful. You know what I mean? You can take your improvements in stages. And I think it's very helpful to do that because I think when we set ourselves these arbitrary 10,000 or bust, you know what I mean? It's 10,000 or I've failed. I think that way of looking at things sucks. And I think long-term it's detrimental, So anyways, I don't think it's too little. I just think, again, for you, everything's relative to where you're at and what your experiences is with it. But I'm proud of you for walking. So again, I think just walking is good and having that goal and aiming at it and hitting it and doing all that's good. Yeah, KT says I do 15 to 20,000 steps a day now for weeks. And yep, it's another streak I become obsessed with. Yeah, exactly, KT. That's why I say, me personally, I will tell you this. It's the cornerstone of my entire approach to really everything, but certainly weight mastery, is that I build everything around routine because I build around the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the part of your brain that runs all your habitual thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And so us as humans we're primarily subconscious creatures. We're not moment to moment all day long, just making rational decisions. We basically live our lives on autopilot. And so I've done so many streaks and challenges in my life, excuse me, where I do something crazy for a little while and then I stop doing it completely. So I realized pretty early on that that's not going to support me. And so I'm really focused nowadays on installing routines. And the way I do that primarily is I give myself flexibility. So even with the walking, for example, I'm less concerned with walking 10,000 steps a day anymore than I am with instituting habits. And so one of the habits I'm going to be focusing on very quickly, or I will admit, I told myself during the summer, I was like, you can sleep in more. And so I allowed myself to stay up a little bit later, sleep in a little bit more. And that screwed up my whole morning routine because I got up at like, I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock. And now it's like, oh, I want to walk the dog. But I'm like, oh, I got work to do and I got things I want to do. And a lot of times I would not walk the dog. So I had told myself, once school starts with the kid, I drop him off I got to be up by about 7. And then when I'm up at 7, it's easier for me to get up at 6:30. If I'm up at 6:30, that's when I take the dog for a walk. So for me, I don't really set like those challenge goals anymore because I know that the only reason I'm doing them is because I'm obsessed with it. I'm focused on making myself do it. And what I do is someone had a great quote and I forget it, but I'm going to use the back end of it, is that I always think about how I'm going to fall to the level of my systems. And I think very systematically and I think very routine oriented. And so that supported me well. But anyways, but great job, KT. It's nice to do things where you prove you can do crazy stuff too. So what's up, Mario? What's up, Jody? I was in a new group today. I might be on listen mode later. New group is awesome. Yeah, we kicked off the boot camp only call today, and it's awesome. And so I'm glad. This is kind of the first time in the boot camp, and I actually cut down. I was going to do like 10 people, and I'm like, I ran like an initial early bird promo for it, and halfway through, I said, you know what? I only want to work with the people that are super motivated. So I just shut it down. And I'm kind of glad I did because it allowed me to spend a lot more time with them today. And that was good. But anyways, yeah, it's awesome. And I love the people in that group. I love the people in my program. I really do. I tell you this, guys, I'm one of the luckiest people on the planet. And one of the reasons is what I get to do for work and who I get to work with. And the people I get to work with are almost all psychographically very similar. Always different, very different people, but psychographically very similar in the sense that they're all overthinkers. They're usually perfectionists. They're usually very action oriented, usually high achievers, and they're struggling with their weight. And that's my favorite type of person to work with. And yeah, we got a group of them. So it says it was so much easier to eat healthy during the summer for me. Yeah, why is that, Mario? What was going on in the summer that's not different now? The weather, your schedule, what's different? Moses says, hi, did you ever compare yourself to others? If so, how do you deal with that? Yeah, of course. I mean, I think everyone compares themselves to others. We're conditioned to compare ourselves to others. Understand that. It's a natural thing we do anyways, but then in this society, it's just on hyperdrive. I mean, social media is basically, TV, commercials, advertisements, gossip magazines, celebrity culture, all of this stuff is comparing. And so it's that way. What's up, Molly? See Molly T over in YouTube land. How's it going? Yeah. So, I mean, we all compare ourselves. How do you deal with it? There's a quote I love to say, and it's that comparison's the thief of joy. And so I think about that a lot because it's pretty true. I can't tell you the number of people I've seen that are losing weight and then they talk to a friend who's lost more weight and now they feel discouraged and like they got to do something extreme because they're losing weight too slowly. So yeah, it's a big issue. It's something we naturally do. We've been conditioned to do it on hyperdrive. And so how do you get a handle on it? Again, it becomes a process. I think the more you get focused on yourself, the better. The more you realize that other people are living their lives and they're them and you're you. And so what they're doing really, at the end of the day, really matters very little to you, in most cases. So I don't know. It's been an ongoing process, I suppose, but I feel like the better and the more, if you build this whole process around you and becoming the person you want to be, and that's your main focus, I think that's a big part of this. And I think that goes a far way towards dealing with this comparison thing. So for example, I was just working with a new group and we were talking about the goal. And the goal isn't like, what do you want to weigh? The question was, who do you want to be? So if you wrap your weight loss and personal development, that's the core question. Who do you want to be? Who's the best version of you? And when we ask that question, it just intrinsically is bigger than just a weight or a size. Okay. And so if you make this whole process about being the best version of you, I think it helps with the comparison thing. Because if it's not just about losing weight, it's about being more calm, it's about living a life with more adventure and fulfillment, then all of a sudden, when you see someone who's lost 30 pounds doing keto, but they haven't really done any of the personal development work, you say, well, okay, that's great. That's their path and I'm on my path. And so I think the more you make this about personal development and becoming the best version of you, I think intrinsically it's your own path. It's your path that only you can follow because it's custom made for you. And so I think that does a lot of the work of letting go of that comparison, because you realize that you're a unique snowflake who's creating a unique system to live the life you want to lead. So I think that helps. What's up, Jim? How's it going? Jim said, felt so bad realizing the chickpea nuggets are actually not healthy. The ingredients are not good, but they look so healthy. Yeah, I mean, anything in a nugget form is not going to be healthy. I can just tell you as a shortcut. There's not going to be any healthy nuggets. There's healthier nuggets, I suppose, but no nugget's going to be healthy. Just so you know. I know. Such a tough pill to swallow. Is there anything I can eat? I get it, guys. That's the process, though. You know what I mean? Like dealing with that. You're like, oh, shit, that's not healthy. No, that's not healthy. No, I don't know what to do, you know? But you just stay with it. You know, Jim, think about how far you've come in just a month of realizing what's healthy, what's not. You know, your awareness has exploded exponentially. But at the same time, it's only been a month, too. So, you know, things take longer and it's a process and it's frustrating along the way sometimes. Jim said 7 a.m. is sleeping in for you. Jim, what? No. Just 7 a.m. is not sleeping in for me. 7 a.m. is me getting up. That's my normal time in normal mode. When I'm Monday through Friday during, like, my kids are in school, I'm working my thing. I'm usually up 6:30, 7 o'clock typically. But during the summer, my sleep in mode is probably, I don't stay up that much later. I stay up like a half hour later, but it shows up when I wake up. I don't wake up with an alarm most of the time. So during the summer, I was waking up probably 7:30, 8, somewhere around there. And then on the weekends, I go to bed a lot later. So the weekends, I'll wake up 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30 sometimes, you know. But I used to sleep in way later, but I've changed my sleep a lot. So you seem like one of those people in movies who have unrealistically healthy lives. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I've been working on it for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, you could watch me play guitar and I suck at guitar compared to people that are really good. But if you don't play guitar, you're like, holy shit, I could never do that. Well, of course you could. You just practice, you know, and you get better at it. But it's funny. I mean, and there's people that live way healthier lives than I do. I mean, relatively. Health's a funny thing too, how we define it. But there's people that are way more like disciplined and focused on like working out and eating very, very, very specifically, way more than me. So I guess it's all relative. What's up, Athena? How's it going? Don, how you doing? Jody said, we're super lucky to work with you. Thankful every day for my gym. Oh, thank you, Jody. I'm lucky to work with you, and you're a superstar. Athena says, I gained 5 pounds overnight. I'm so confused. Is that water weight? I don't know. What did you do yesterday? What did you do the last couple of days of food wise? You know, again, I know this is hard, but I was just working with someone and she used to be a principal, and we were talking about the idea that in Program Yourself, then really this comes out of NLP, that there's no failure, there's only feedback. And I internalize this so deeply that I never care. I mean, someone can get on a call with me and be like, I just ate 6 pints of ice cream yesterday. Great. Let's talk about what happened. You know, I genuinely look at everything that way. And I think it's valuable to do so. So when Athena says she gained 5 pounds overnight, I'm so confused. That part, I know Athena a little bit, but it's like, what did you eat the last couple of days? What's going on? You don't gain 5 pounds magically. I don't think. I think you do something outlierish. You eat a lot. You get really in some weird place emotionally, physically, and that happens. But let me know, Athena. I'd be curious to know if anything was different the previous 3 days. Myra says, I'm not sure why, but when I'm on vacation or just have no responsibilities, it feels easier to eat healthy foods. Maybe because I'm so relaxed and not worried. Yeah, absolutely, Mario. Again, that goes back to the idea, because most people don't really understand what willpower is, but willpower is a prefrontal cortex process. And if I put you in college and have you take lots of classes and you're thinking a lot and using a lot of your brain, you're going to have less energy and ability to make healthier food choices. And when you're on vacation mode and you are kind of more relaxed, you free up a lot more energy to make healthier choices. Now, that can work other ways too. I mean, you could be in relaxed mode and now you like shit too. But mentally, anyways, the less taxed our brain is, the more energy there is to focus on making healthier choices, plan to make those healthy choices, get ourselves to do it. And the more taxed we are, the less energy there is, right? So everything is relative. Deanna likes that. I say that a lot because I really believe that. Deanna says, I think you're relatable and not like some crazy health person like Goggins. Thank you. I like to think that that's true. And I like to fill in that space because I think there's not a lot of that. I think there's a lot of extreme things because extreme things get noticed. And while I do agree, my lifestyle is very healthy. It is outlier. I'm definitely in outlier territory the way that I live and eat. No question about it. Is it extreme? I mean, that's a relative term, right? So it's extreme. If you try to do it in one day, it'd feel extreme. If you spent 30 years, consistently optimizing and working on improving your mindset, lifestyle, and eating, it wouldn't be extreme, Oops. Let's see. 10K done. Good job, Lorena. Athena says, my situation is my friend's losing weight and I'm stuck. I hate it, but I'm jealous. Okay, here we go. Athena says, I ate so much chocolate, but honestly didn't expect to gain that much. What kind of chocolate did you eat? And what kind of chocolate did you eat? What form was it in? And how much of it did you eat? Let me know. Because that's a lot of weight for chocolate, I would say, is my first impression. But let's start diagnosing this, Athena. I want to get to the bottom of this. See, my brain, folks, I wish we could just do brain transplants. If you could have my brain for a day, you would start losing weight instantly. I don't think there's a body on this planet where we wouldn't start losing weight almost instantly if I put my brain in it. Could be wrong on that, but I believe it. So when Athena says I gained 5 pounds, she's so confused and she goes into was flustered land, confused land. I don't understand. Oh my God, how to put 5 pounds. I don't understand this. How's this going on? I'm never gonna be able to lose the weight. My friends are losing weight. I'm stuck. I can't do this. I don't know what's happening. I try this all the time. This is what always happens. I don't know why. And on. Can you relate to that? And so my brain doesn't do that. My brain says, holy shit, 5 pounds. What the fuck? What's going on? What happened the last couple of days? What's happening? Because I believe I live in a world of cause and effect. I don't believe I just gained 5 pounds. As a matter of fact, I don't even really say I gained or lost weight. I usually think of it in terms of I ate differently. I ate less calories. I ate more calories. And that's a very clarifying distinction to make. So for Athena, she gets lost into emotion land and gets nowhere. I diagnose it. I want to know what happened. And then I want to know why it happened. And then I want to come up with how I would resolve it if I go back in time and what I will use in the future if that situation arises again. What's up, Joy? How's it going? Caitlin says, I always gain 4 pounds of water weight after about a 3,000 to 5,000 binge, but it's not water weight. Yeah, that water weight thing, I would take that idea and send it to the river. I just don't. The water weight, I don't know. Weight. I think you're all confusing yourself with distinctions that you'll never be able to measure. I don't know. Maybe there's science for this now. How do you distinguish between what's water weight and what's actual fat weight? And how do you know? Is there I don't even know. Is there a process to tell that? I think dieters especially make up lots of concepts that confuse them. Water weight, not weight. I mean, if you eat 5,000 calories, whether that's water weight or food, I don't know what the fuck it is. I know I ate 5,000 calories and now I weigh more. So what am I going to do moving forward? I'm going to consume less calories because I want to weigh less, So, but I agree, Caitlin. I think it's good for you that you create a cause effect relationship here. That's valuable. Mario says, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Let's skip past your thing real quick here. Mario says, wow, that makes a lot of sense. I was eating more than ever during college. Yeah. College, again, it's very stressful and there's lots of reasons why. So it's helpful when you know stuff, Athena gained 5 pounds. What's up, Linda? Linda said, second day back to work. So much stress, doing a lot of stop, challenge, choose. Nice. Yeah, again, Linda, the secret for you, I mean, I would say probably the core challenge for you right after the evening eating, and maybe even before, if I had to guess, I would probably flip flop this. I would say your number one challenge now is managing your stress during school time. That would probably, I would say, it's your number one thing. And then followed by the evening eating. That's how I'd probably frame it. And so in addition to doing a lot of stop, challenge, choose, I would also do a lot of, I think I'm off center here. I would do a lot of body scans, checking your body. Where do you store tension? Shoulders, chest, jaw, stomach, all of them. But check your body and relax it. Breathe deeply. If you do that 20 times a day, you'll be a lot better off. You know, it's a stressful situation. Being a teacher is tough. So I get it. And, you know, here's the thing too. I'll tell you this. I know you won't necessarily believe this, folks, but there's stimuli. All of a sudden I'm a teacher and I go back to school. I got these kids, I got tests and administration and other teachers and parents and all this stuff, stimuli. Okay. But then there's an interpretation level, and then there's the emotional experience. Okay. So it's not all the stimuli that creates the stress, it's the interpretation of it. I don't know if you all believe that, but if you do believe it, it's beautiful, because now you actually have the opportunity to deal with it and manage it, because you can't change the stimuli other than quitting your job. You can't change the stimuli because you can't make these kids be different. You can't make the parents be different. They're going to be the way they're going to be. What you can do differently, and I've worked with a number of teachers, okay, so I've seen this work right before my eyes, is that you interpret their stimuli differently. So when you get a kid that's being a real pain in the ass, you notice your shoulders get up and you realize that, and you reverse it. Parent, pain in the ass, administration, pain in the ass. You used to respond this way and then respond to it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you're going to live a stress-free life. I'm not saying that. I'm not crazy. But what I am saying is that you can reduce the stress greatly by interpreting that way, by letting annoying things trigger you to take a deep breath and relax your shoulders and stomach. And so again, it helps you to manage it. And so hopefully that'll help out. Thank you for doing the lives each day. You're welcome. Yeah, I love doing the lives each day. Jim says 5 pounds isn't that much. I gain and lose that often from just eating and drinking, but it goes away usually. Yeah. And I pay attention to that, Athena, is that 5 pounds, I think that's pretty considerable. That's about where I'm at. I've seen the biggest fluctuation I can have day to day was 5 pounds. That's a bit of an outlier. 2 pounds wasn't abnormal, you know, but 5 pounds, you have a crazy day, whatever. Lots of things can influence weight. So I do agree though, that, you know, if you overate pretty dramatically, it's probably going to show up in your weight, probably, you know, but then it goes back down. Frank says 67 years old. I walk every day. Diet is good. I do snack. I weigh 250. Doc says lose 50 pounds. Okay. Do you want to lose 50 pounds? I always think, like, when someone says something to me in that way, that they don't think that I don't need to lose weight. You know, Doc says lose 50 pounds, but I feel like I'm fine. I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading it, but I'm always very clear. To me, motivation's always the starting point of success, and most people's motivation sucks. And this is one of the classic ones that, hey, Doc said I need to lose 20 pounds. Well, who gives a shit? Your doc ain't you. And that makes it sound like you don't really want to lose 20 pounds. Your doc's making you, you know? So anyways, I'm just feeding back a little bit what I see. I could be totally wrong, but nice job walking every day. Good job with the diet. But you know, the question is 250 pounds, you know, you never need to lose weight. Doc, you got to lose weight. If you don't lose 50 pounds, you're going to have a heart attack, and you still don't need to lose weight. People are told that every day and don't lose weight. So you never need to lose weight. It's always a matter of if you want to or not. And so that statement makes me, my impression is that you don't really want to lose the weight. Your doc said you should, but you're kind of like, I'm fine, but maybe I'm wrong. Claudia, what's up? Says, hi, Jim. I don't really know how to behave around food when I'm with people that know me. Well, I mean, then you better figure it out, you know, because if you don't really know how to act, then you're going to act the way you've acted. We always do what we did. unless we come up with a new plan moving forward. And so my question to you is, how do you want to behave around food with people that know you? And once you answer that, then I can tell you how to do that. But that's a better question. Jim said, also, I started working out and I feel so much hungrier. Is that going to sabotage my weight loss? Probably. I was like, I feel like I'm a fountain of negativity today. I don't mean to be, but again, it's a well-known effect called the licensing effect, that people that exercise to kickstart their weight loss tend to get the opposite results, because when you exercise, yeah, you burn more calories and you build muscle and there's good stuff happening, but there's also negative stuff happening in terms of weight loss, meaning that after you exercise, you're usually more tired, you're more sore, you're hungrier, and you've got less willpower, and the licensing effect shows its head. And the licensing effect is when you do something good, moral, and virtuous, you tend to follow it up by doing something less good, moral, and virtuous, And so there's a number of factors working against you when you rely on exercise to lose weight, which is why exercising is really not a great strategy for weight loss initially. So, yeah, I would say, Jim, that's absolutely, but at least you're connecting the things. I think that's important. A lot of people have no awareness of that, and they don't realize it. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you, you work out, and I'm sure you're working out hard. If I know my young men on this live, I got the young men crew, they're all in their 20s. And if I had to guess, I bet you're lifting a lot of weights, really working out hard, a lot more than you were. You started from here, you went right up to here, right? And so now you're really hungry. Your body's really breaking down. It really needs to recover. And so I don't know. Will it sabotage your weight loss? Probably, but it's up to you. Are you eating a lot more? Because that's another piece with the working out, is that you think you're burning 500 calories. So the 300 calorie muffin, you're still in a deficit, but the reality is you only burn 300 calories and the muffin's 500 calories and you're in $200 surplus. So again, it's a real thing, and how you respond to it is up to you. But anyways, oh, okay, Jen, that's funny. Yeah, I've never seen Molly T. I do start to notice people, but that's funny. On your daughter's account. Jen says it's so funny that some people get the licensing effect with working out. I have the opposite. Like, I don't want to undo my work. Well, that's great. And again, that's why I say I always qualify everything I'm saying by it depends. I know it's unsatisfying, but this is what frustrates me about diets. There's 8 billion people on the planet. We all respond differently to different things. So the licensing effect is, again, it's a generalization for a group of people. Does it affect everyone that way? Well, obviously not, so that's why I say to Jim, how does it affect you? Again, there's kind of best practices. There's kind of the generalized, how it affects most people, but then there's the specifics of how it affects you. And that's always the most important one for you all, Oh, okay. JK asked a great question. JK, we're I don't know what you call that. We're college in-laws. I don't know what you call it, but JK's daughter went to the same school that my daughter's going to now. So it's a small world. It's so funny. I'll have to put her in touch with her. I know that network is like the mafia. It's like they got their own very strong network of people. So that was funny. But anyways, JK says, why after a Labor Day barbecue binge, my healthy whole foods don't taste that gratifying? And that's a great question. And it's a great awareness to have. And it's very true. And again, for the most people, this is going to be the case, that when you start eating hyper palatable foods, you calibrate your tongue to hyper palatable tastes. And so this is why I tell you, artificial soda versus natural soda, I say fuck them both, because I don't want to, artificial sweetener has got no calories in it. Yeah, but it's also super duper unnaturally sweet. And so when I drink artificial sweeteners, all of a sudden natural fruits, vegetables, and foods don't taste as exciting. They taste extra boring. So again, that's the reason for it. But that's funny. My wife just showed me the greatest pillow on the planet. But anyway, so a big part of me managing my eating is managing how I calibrate my taste buds. And so if you eat lots of hyper palatable food, you're going to notice that more natural foods taste more boring and bland afterwards. Everything's relative, right? So, yeah, that's why. Nura, how's it going? Nura says, hey, I am curious to your experience and those of your clients with appetite reduction, assuming that positive changes like increased water intake, reducing stress, and incorporating more veggies and nutrition reduces appetite to an extent. Does it happen so gradually that it is impossible to perceive, or is it more of a random pattern? I think it's a little of both. I will tell you that me personally, the biggest shift in my appetite reducing was about 5 years ago when I started having giant salads for lunch. And what I experienced was what I would consider what people describe when they talk about the Ozempic effect. And I noticed my hunger fall off a cliff. It was the biggest reduction in hunger that I experienced in my life, is when I started eating more salads. Now, I also experienced that reduction in hunger in a dramatic way over the first 2 weeks. I didn't. And I noticed my stomach felt really full. I felt like someone kind of poured cement in my guts. I was eating a lot more fiber and beans and natural food, and I didn't feel great the first couple of weeks. And after about 2 weeks or so, that's when I started to notice the hunger fall off a cliff for about a month. And so my answer to you is that, yes, I think it's probably going to be random for you, because the way you experience it's probably different than how I experience. But I think that when you start to clean up your lifestyle, and especially when you start to clean up your eating and start to introduce more veggies into your diet, I would stay sensitive over a month, let's say, to notice if there's any reduction. And of course, that's in relation to how much you change your diet, how much you add healthier foods in there. I dramatically increased my nutrition content. And so it took me about 2 weeks. So again, that's me, that's my body, that's what I did. But so pay attention, stay sensitive to it, and start to notice how your body responds. And realize sometimes it can be imperceptible. Sometimes we don't perceive things until a while. Meditation's like that for me. Meditation for me, I will tell you, and I've been meditating for 30 years off and on. I'm on a real long streak now, but I would meditate for a while and I feel good about it. And then I remember there's one summer where I took the summer off from meditating, and I was meditating a lot, and I didn't feel like, oh, I'm so calm and peaceful and centered and relaxed. I didn't really get that intense feeling. But then I stopped meditating for the summer, and then I realized, holy shit, I'm kind of anxious. My thoughts are getting carried away. I'm getting caught up in myself. And so sometimes things can happen gradually, and don't realize it. And then we stop, and then we realize what an impact has. So I know, again, that's kind of an unsatisfying answer, but it's a little bit of both. Things can happen gradually, you don't even notice it. And sometimes things can happen all at once or relatively quickly. So, yeah, Don says, oh my God, yes, we gain from what we do. Nothing is a mystery here. I think I agree that. And Don says, that's how you beat the diet industry system. Agreed. I think the diet industry tries to confuse you, because when you're confused, you're way more likely to quit and get off track. And that's what the diet industry wants you to diet for a little while and then go back to what you typically eat. All the big diets you guys are referencing are owned by the big food companies. I haven't said this one in a while, so I'll say it. I need to say this regularly. Weight Watchers was owned by Heinz. Jenny Craig was owned by Nestle. Atkins Food Products owned by the same company owns Auntie Anne's Pretzels and Cinnabon. Slim Fast owned by the same company owns Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream. None of these diets want you to lose weight. They want you to do some dumb shit for a little while and then go back to how you always ate. And that's why you're at the same weight you've probably been at for decades at this point, because you're trying to diet, it doesn't work, and you keep trying it doesn't work, but that's all you keep doing because that's all you know. And so I get out here as an alternative to kind of give you a different perspective. But yes, I think Don's absolutely right. That's diet talk. Athena says it was Hershey's, a family-sized bag, and I guess I also ate a huge portion of pasta now that I think of it. Again, I'm not laughing at you, Athena. I'm laughing at, again, for you, and you're not alone. This is very common. Awareness precedes change. And if you're a dieter, it's almost guaranteed you're very, very unaware of what you eat, of your mindset, of what you're doing, just unaware, which is why weight loss is a learning process. It's not a process that you know what to do and you just need to get yourself to do it. You have no fucking clue what to do. You have no clue. No, going on a keto diet is that's not a clue. That's an extreme whack at the ball. It's a grand slam attempt. It's stupid. And so you don't know what to do. You don't have a strategy. You don't have a plan. You don't know the granular details of mastering your weight. And so you're flailing with diets. So again, not to sound like an asshole here, but I got to speak plainly sometimes. So Athena, you reveal what I deal with every single day, which is you're flummoxed. I don't know how I gained 5 pounds in a day or 2 days. I have no idea how this happened. And then as you start, and again, you go right into confusion. This is why in Program Yourself Thin, the most important part of the whole program, really the Program Yourself Thin method, revolves around the redo rehearsal technique. It's a 2-minute self-hypnosis technique you use. But what it does is you would clarify what you did to put 5 pounds on it a day. And imagine, again, I'm not picking on you, Athena, you know this, but I'm speaking to all of you because you all do this, that you put 5 pounds on and you go into a state of panic instead of reflecting on what you did. And you go into the state of panic. I don't understand how to put 5 pounds. Oh my God, my body's broken. I got a broken body, 5 pounds in one day. How is this possible? And you get lost in those thoughts instead of taking a step back and saying, whew, 5 pounds. How'd that happen? Oh shit. Right. I had a whole giant family size bag of chocolate. I ate a giant thing of pasta. You probably did other stuff. Oh, but if you don't even, and again, you've seen it in real time, folks. Athena's like, I don't understand. I'm so confused. It was just yesterday when she ate a family size bag of Hershey's and a bunch of pasta. It was just yesterday. She put 5 pounds on. So all of you are saying, well, obviously that's what it is. Oh, how could she not know that? You're doing the same fucking thing. You do it all the time. And you're not putting 2 and 2 together. You don't do this. Again, you don't gain or lose weight. You eat more or less calories. Gaining or losing weight is a reflection of what you're eating. And so again, so we're getting into the details of how Athena's missing something. The bigger picture for Athena is that she does things that make her overweight and she's not seeing them, which leads her right to the phrase, no matter what I do, I can't lose weight. I eat healthy and I put 5 pounds on yesterday, she may be thinking. Now, I know that sounds like crazy land, but you're all living in crazy land because you're not aware of what you're doing to some degree. Most of you, some of you are, but most of you aren't. Caitlin says, but they say you'd have to eat 7,700 on top of your maintain to gain 1 pound. So how are we gaining 4? Yeah, exactly. Let me know if you find an answer to that. Because I will tell you, weight science to me, I find to be one of the most unsatisfying things on the planet. How is it possible? How is it possible? I don't really know. I have not seen a satisfying answer. Water weight, again, that's what's that fucking mean? What's water weight mean? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You ate some salt. Now your body's holding on to water. I guess that's probably sure that's part of it, but I don't know. I don't really understand, even how do you lose weight? How do you actually lose it? You breathe it out. Did you know that? But who gives a shit? What's that even mean? Who gives a shit? I don't care about the process of losing weight, like the scientific process of it. I haven't seen anything satisfying. But what I do know leads to your weight, my simple brain, is what you're eating consistently. So I don't give a shit about water weight, fat weight, cortisol weight, salt weight. I don't give a shit about any of that. I care what you're putting in your mouth and then what your weight ends up becoming ultimately. And because I don't know, I've just not seen, they don't know. Again, it doesn't take too many weight studies. It doesn't go read some weight studies where they put a group of people in a metabolic lab and track every single calorie in and out for these people. And they walk out of there after a period of time, it's a week, 2 weeks, months, and they all weigh different weights. They all lost different amounts of weight. No one's really explained this. So I don't know. Yeah. And Athena said that might have triggered the chocolate binge. Yeah, sure. Linda said, I need a good massage. Yes, Linda. Yes, Linda. That's the solution. It's not the only solution. It's part of the overall comprehensive solution. Starting to check in with yourself, relaxing more, using, strategic breaks in your day. Might be lunch, might be when you first get into school. You have a desk, you got your desk at work, you get something like this. You get a little snow globe, right? Something that's relaxing. You walk into your desk in the morning, you get there an extra 5 minutes early, you shake your globe up, you sit down, and you just watch it. You just watch it relax and you breathe. And become like that little Buddha in there. Now I feel better. You know what I mean? Oh, that's going to change everything. No, it doesn't change everything, but it gives me a little break. Because I know as a teacher, you walk in there and it's just like, you walk in there, oh God, oh, I got to do this, I got to do this. You get in there, yeah, the whole day like that. You get home, so what after all of a sudden you start your day and you just relax. Then you have another thing, relax you. Then you go get a massage once a week. Great. You know what I mean? So That's the way of thinking, Linda. Perfect. And Linda says, I love the relaxation of the hypnosis sessions. Yes. Oh man, we were going to that yesterday. It's like the hypnosis sessions, y'all have to understand, it's like the hypnosis suggestions, the way I'm speaking and the ideas I'm putting in your mind are really second place after you're practicing relaxing. I bet you're bad at relaxing, folks. I bet you are. If you're an American, I bet you suck at relaxing and you don't do anything to relax very often. And so you're in a chronic state of stress. So the first most important thing in my mind anyways, and program yourself in every day you're listening to a hypnosis. It's a 5-minute hypnosis session. I make it comfortable, practical, real. And so you start your day, listen to a 5-minute hypnosis session. But yeah, you're getting all the positive stuff in your head. But the key thing is every day now for 8 weeks, you start your morning relaxing, breathing, calming down, bringing your attention inwards. Do you think that might be important? No, Jim, I know what I got to do. Don't give me that relaxation bullshit. I just got to stop eating carbs. Okay. Good luck. Good luck. You're a fucking ball of nerves and you're going to just completely change your diet. You're had it up to here with life, but now you're going to add even more on. It just makes no sense. Is that where the word moron comes from? So you just add moron to when you're already full up? Never thought of that. You're dieting moron. Don't be a dieting moron. I really mean that. Don't be a dieting moron. Don't put more onto your plate, right? Your plate's just steeped over the top, overflowing, and then you start a diet just heaping more on it. You're just up to here. And your solution is to add more stress. What would be more stressful than starting a fucking keto diet? Oh, my stress doesn't matter, Jim. It's just, I just got to get myself to do it. Do you think that your stress level, your relaxation level might impact how much you can get yourself to do? Or no? Your moods don't matter at all. No, Jim, my stress levels don't affect my behaviors. I'm just got to know what to do. I got to get myself to do it. Okay. Let me know how it goes. Let me know how that goes. Lola Bunny says, how do I get used to strength training to get a lean body if I always give up after a week? I mean, I would suggest that you start strength training a lot slower. I bet when you start strength training, you jump into it, do some overwhelming shit so that you're like, by the end of that week, you give up because you're tired, you're sore. It's hard to get yourself to do it. You don't look forward to it. It's overwhelming to you. You hate it. So I would say the first thing I would suggest is probably like starting off slower, if that's what was going on with you. And if that's not what's going on, let me know and we'll go with a different one. Caitlin says, I live with friends who buy junk 24/7. I can't change that. So I need to build habits myself. Yeah, that's a real challenge. You know, when people live with other people, that's a big challenge. You know, how do you deal with that? And in that situation, I always say the same thing, that you really need to have a bulletproof mindset. You know, you really have to have rock solid motivation in that situation because it is an extra challenge. It's extra hard for you because of that environment, you know, but you can still do it. You know, but just got to get your motivation in place. And what I would suggest to you, I suggest that all of you, if you're not in my world, click the link in my bio and go get the hypnosis session I give you. It's free. It's called The New Thin Me. It's a Kickstart session, but it'll kind of introduce you to a different way to approach your weight. And I also give you a video. It's 20 minutes long. I'd suggest watching it. You know, kind of breaks down everything I'm saying in a more systematic fashion. Don says it really helps to weigh daily and do averages. Then you see your trend and the fluctuations. Yeah, of course, that too. Those of you that just weigh once a week or after you binge, you know, I mean, I can't think of a worse strategy than that. If you don't understand how your weight fluctuates naturally, I don't know. I always think that the weighing yourself once a week, I always like metaphorically, it's similar to reading like every 7 chapters of a book. You're just missing so much information. The idea that you'd weigh yourself once a week, why? Because you're so emotionally broken that you can't even handle stepping on the scale. It's so triggering for you. You can't even manage the scale. You know, if that's the case, you're not going to succeed with your weight anyways. If you're so emotionally brittle and fragile that you can't step on a scale, it just reveals there's so much emotion in you set up against you. Like there's terror, sheer frustration, depression, anxiety about your weight that you can't step on a scale. Don't you think you're going to have to deal with those emotions in some way, or what? No, the way to deal is I just have to lose the weight. How's that working out for you? I don't know. I feel like I'm sounding negative today, but I mean, what do you want? It's like I deal with this every day and I hear what dieters say to me. And the thing with dieters is dieters are so smug. It's like they're so smug in the sense that, okay, they haven't figured their weight out, but then they know everything they got to do. And everything I'm saying is happy horse shit, woo-woo bullshit. Jim, hypnosis, relaxation. Yeah, maybe when I lose the weight, then I'll focus on relaxation, And it's like, so I listen to shit all day long. So sometimes it gets to me a little bit, but because dieters are so smug in the sense that they feel so certain that their plan is great. It's the weirdest, it's a fucking bizarro world. That dieters are so smug about their plan. I always say, like, I made this video, like, if you're overweight, your diet doesn't work. How about that? You're so defensive about your diet. You're so always defending it. You think your diet's so great. I can't tell you the number of overweight people that have told me keto is how you got to lose weight. Someone want to tell them? Well, I'm not doing it now, Jim. I'm not doing it now. So, okay, I gained the weight, but I lost 50 pounds on it. Well, what happened? Well, yeah, I ate a piece of bread and then all the 50 pounds came on the next week. Well, why don't you just go back on it? I'm gonna get myself on it. Are you really? Why don't you do it today? I gotta get myself fired up. Yeah, that's right. You get yourself fired up because you fucking hate doing it. It's a nightmare to you and you don't want to do it. That's why you're not doing it now. Why you don't want to start it today. And that's why you're never going to continue with it. So you'll never be able to get your results long-term. So tell me again why your diet's so great. Oh no. Vienna says, Jim, you helped me so much with the scale anxiety by this no BS tough love. If people like the tough love, I always do it more of it. I try to be encouraging and supportive, but sometimes encouraging supportive is just being a non-bullshitter, But yeah, not negative, just no bullshit. Thank you, Deanna. And again, my heart's in the right place. I care for all of you tremendously. But the dieting culture has got you all saying a lot of dumb shit at the same time. You know what I mean? It's just true. And I never get anyone arguing with me about this. The few people that do argue with me for about 5 minutes and then change their mind. I literally have never had an argument about the diet being great. Never. Shit, I'm going on 2 years. It was like a 2-year anniversary I'm almost at. And I never get anyone consistently coming and saying, Jimmy, you're full of shit, dude. The keto diet's awesome. Weight Watchers is the way to go. This is fucking great. It's great. I never get people saying that. Anyways. Linda says, love your response strategies. Thanks. You're welcome, Linda. Yeah. I love strategies. I'm a big strategic thinker. I'm a strategic coach. I'm actually certified as a strategic coach. Just Tony Robbins coaching thing. Great program. Jim said, I started following those gym bros and wow, I'm so inspired, but I'm also scared to fail. They say the more you work out, the more I can eat and gain muscle from it. But I don't know. Am I stupid believing everything? I don't think you're stupid believing everything. I think that you're doing what everyone does, is that it's easy to watch influencers. It's easy to watch this stuff and in your head, oh yeah, that makes sense. And watch somebody who looks amazing. He's holy shit, I want to look like that. That's how they're doing. That's what I say it. Great. And then believe what they're saying. And again, it comes back to the idea that you're not referencing yourself. I don't know how big you want to be. I don't know how much you want to work out. I don't know how much you enjoy working out. I don't know what your goals are. So I can't really say whether being a gym bro is the right or wrong thing for you. I know gym bros more than most people. I did a whole series called The Elite Body where I interviewed almost 50 of the top fitness trainers and nutritionists on the planet at the time. And what I came away realizing is that I don't have the same values and goals as most of these people. I don't value having big muscles and having abs and having a lot of these physical trophies, as they would say. They would say having a six-pack's like having a trophy that you can show everyone. And I respect that that's their values and great. but it's not mine. So I can't tell you what to think or what to believe, Jim, because I don't know what your values are. I don't know what you're doing this for and all the rest of it. I know it's very simple and easy to fall into the trance when you see someone who looks great or you think looks great and to fall into that trance, but if you love working out, great, knock yourself out. I hate working out. So that's not the path for me. So, are you stupid for believing everything? I mean, I wouldn't call it stupid. I would say, where does that lead to? When each week or each month you're on a different path, where do you end up 10 years from now with that model? I think that's an interesting way to look at it. But I couldn't say if you're stupid for believing everything or not. I could say it may be ineffective. There's Christy. I love that you speak the truth. Well, thank you, Christy. The truth I keep thinking with you is I got to reach out to you so I can interview you. I want to hear your story. And that's my goal here. So I keep, hey, listen, do I understand excuses? I understand excuses. There's things with work. I had a bunch of things I was going to do this week for work. All of a sudden my kid's got COVID and he's home again. What the shit? So it's like, these things happen, but I will reach out to you. Kathy says, I'm trying to lose 20 pounds. I'm trying to be very patient. Problem, I flip-flop back and forth. First thing I say to you, Kathy, is watch out for the word try. It implies failure. If I said I tried to close the door, is it open or closed? So when I see Kathy saying, I'm trying to lose 20 pounds, it's not working. I'm trying to be very patient. That's not working. Problem is I flip-flop back and forth. And so when you try to be something, what happens is you just try and be it for a moment. And then you're that way for a minute. And then when you're not, well, I'm not that way. Me, what I do is if I want to be patient, I tell myself, okay, I'm going to work on being more patient. I'm going to start to develop my patience. And I'm going to start here because I'm not very patient. And I'm going to slowly work myself to being more patient. And I'm going to develop that patience by training my body. I'm going to relax more because what does patience feel like? Well, the big thing I notice between when I'm impatient and when I'm patient is my stomach. When I'm impatient, my stomach gets tight. My shoulders get tight. I stop breathing. My energy, my mindset gets very narrowed down. When I'm patient, I kind of take a step back. I relax my shoulders, relax my stomach. This is what patience feels more like to me. So I physiologically practice feeling patient. Then I go into the psychology of feeling patient. I speak differently. When I'm impatient, I got to lose weight. I got to get this done. I got to get this finished. I got to lose the weight. I got to get this gone. That's how I talk to myself. When I'm more patient, I say, I want to lose weight. I know this is a long-term process. So I'm okay with being patient and letting it take some time. I don't mind that because I'm in this for the long haul. I don't give a shit if I lose 20 pounds this month or this year. I just want to get on the path where I start to lose it consistently so that I can live at my goal weight forever. And so I'm going to have the ultimate patience here where I relax into the process and that de-stresses me. I'm far more calm. That's going to help me make better food choices. I feel better instantly. And I really, this patient actually feels kind of nice. I'm going to start to work to bring this patience into my eating, my life, my weight, all the rest of it. And I'm going to become a more patient person day after day. And I'm going to get 1% more patient each and every day. So you compare those two. Which one do you think is going to be better? Julie, what's up? What do you do with structured eating if you aren't hungry at normal mealtime? That's a great question. Me personally, that's rare because if I'm structured, it's basically structured around I eat and then I'm hungry by the time my next meal comes. So that's very rare for me. But if I get off path with something and all of a sudden I'm not hungry during a structured time, I will still eat, but let's say, for example, for whatever reason, I'm not that hungry at lunch. I don't know what for just magical reason, my stomach, I just feel not hungry. I'm a little hungry, not very hungry. What I would do is I'd probably make a small salad. So I'd still eat something, but I just make it a lot smaller. And so that I would still eat at that normal time because if all of a sudden I'm not hungry at lunch and I don't eat, now I think in my mind, now I'm not going to eat. And now when I go into dinner, I'm probably gonna be a lot more hungry. I'm kind of throwing my whole eating off. So I really like to honor my routine and my strategies, my structured eating. And if I don't feel that hungry, and again, it's not binary usually. It's not like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm not hungry. It's usually some gradient. And if I'm just not that hungry as I usually am, but I'm a little bit hungry, I'll just make a small salad. If I'm not hungry at all, absolutely, if I don't feel like I'm sick, I won't eat, but if I'm a little hungry, I'll still eat something, but I'll just dial it down because I still want to keep that routine in place. That's what I do. What's up, Jonathan? Hey, man, 4 pounds away from goal weight. I don't know how I'm going to eat after this, but try not to think about it right now. Jonathan, this is fascinating to me because you are in a very unusual situation, meaning you have lost weight a lot faster than I thought you would. And so now it's very interesting that you're going to have what, 4 weeks of being at your goal weight? This is going to be very interesting. So keep me updated about this. Yeah, try not to think about it. Yeah, I wouldn't think about how you're going to eat after the wedding. I would be thinking about what you're going to do for the next 4 weeks. Because again, you have to recognize is that a lot of your motivation comes from the excitement of watching that scale go down. And once the scale kind of hits a number, even though the wedding's coming up and you got I'm going to be pictures and all the rest of it, I don't be surprised. I don't say this negatively, but don't be surprised if your motivation takes a little bit of a hit over the next 3-4 weeks. Just be aware of that. And if that's the case, get on this call and I'll talk with you about it. But very interesting. But I say congratulations. You set your mind to something, you did it, and amazing. Great job. I'm excited to see those pictures. I hope they come out great because you really set your mind to it and did it. Nice job. Don says, I never consider my workout as an excuse to add more food in. Working out is for my brain health. There you go. I would listen to Dawn. She's dropping some wisdom there. I think that's better. Hold on a second. Yep. Christy says, yes, I can no longer tolerate the cherry Alani new. I'm not sure what that is, but it must be some drink, I bet. Satan, how's it going? Hi, I tried meditating for first time. My brain kept telling me it's stupid. I couldn't relax. Yeah, that's what most people do. It's so funny. I mean, I've had that conversation the last couple of days with people that just started the program, and they're like, when I listen to hypnosis, I'm freaking out. And that's a very common phenomenon that when people either start hypnosis or meditation, it's like the first time in their life they've quieted down and turned their attention inwards. I had the same thing. And what happens is it's overwhelming. You get freaked out. You're like, holy shit, it's a war zone in here, and you have no strategies to deal with it. So it just feels overwhelming and just like, I gotta get out of there. And that's very common. And so I think the secret is to reset your expectations. And if this is what I teach in my program. When I teach meditation, I say, just start with a minute. Let's just start with a minute. And the hypnosis, I even start with 5 minutes. Just start it slow because the first goal is just to calm down and relax a little bit. And it's a skill set. You get better and better at it as you practice it. But it is a skill set, and it's something that you need to work on. So again, you gotta, why do you even want to meditate? I think is the initial question. And if you have a strong enough reason, you'll stick with it. But what you're experiencing, Satan, is not unusual. Julie says, yeah, perfect. A small salad with pears. Perfect. Yeah. By the way, when you're not that hungry, it's a great opportunity to expand what you eat, and so it's a great opportunity to eat, I don't know, a small salad with pears that you never usually eat, but that's great. And so you're still somewhat on track though, you know what I mean? But you've modified it to the situation. So that's a great strategy. Tree Donum says, is it possible to lose weight on medications that can cause weight gain? I don't know. I think it would depend on the medications. There's a lot of medicines out there. All right. And so I think that that's a layered question. And I couldn't just give a blanket statement. I mean, there's some steroids out there that drive up hunger so high. I think it's challenging, so I think you look at the specific medications you're taking, you reference how they're impacting you specifically, hunger wise, and then you set your expectations based on that. And if you're in a situation where your hunger is just off the charts, then I would let go of the weight loss goal. And I would instead focus on eating healthier, cleaning up my lifestyle during this time when you're on the medications. So basically what I'm saying is I would calibrate your expectations to the situation you're actually in. Rebecca, how's it going? They said they get you coming and going. I love learning this. It makes me defensive. Yes. And being defensive, I just read this, that with weight loss, beating yourself up and berating yourself is not effective, if you didn't know that. And what tends to work way better with helping people actually lose weight is learning about the food companies, about the diet industry, like learning how you're being manipulated, how all the foods that you love so much. You have such warm, fuzzy feelings for all these processed foods. But what you probably don't know is that these foods are made by the cigarette companies. You probably feel a lot more negative and a lot of disdain for the cigarette companies as opposed to the food companies, which you feel all these warm, fuzzy feelings for. When in reality, the cigarette companies are the food companies. Oh, Jim, now that's it. You're being too dramatic. Am I? Because Nabisco and RJR Reynolds are literally merged together. They're the same company. The parent company of Kraft and General Foods is Philip Morris. These guys divested from cigarettes in the late 70s and went into food. And what they have done is they have put all their money into creating what I refer to as food cigarettes, meaning that they have created the most addictive substance possible in food form. And yes, the more you realize that, I think the more you realize you're being manipulated by corporations to give up years of your life, to give up quality of your life. And you're being manipulated just like the cigarette companies manipulated people into giving up years of their life and quality of years of their life and money. You're being manipulated in the exact same way by the exact same companies. And yet your emotional connection to these companies does not convey that. You feel very warm and fuzzy for all your foods, don't you? And when you think about food, or when you think about cigarettes, you have all this very negative response to it. So the more you learn, the more you know, that the easier it becomes to eat well. I tell you guys this all the time, that the reason I eat well is very little to do with willpower and has a lot to do with mindset. And you can relate to this if you are a non-smoker, because you're not smoking cigarettes because you have amazing willpower and you're fighting off cravings for cigarettes all day. You don't smoke cigarettes because the way you think about them, it's disgusting, and you have no craving for cigarettes. And so the more you learn about processed food, the more your cravings for it disappear. And I read tons and tons and tons and tons of books about processed food and food in general. And so a lot of my mindset, I don't want to eat fast food. I don't feel like I'm missing out on fast food, just like you don't feel like you're missing out on cigarettes, or you probably don't feel like you're missing out on putting white powders up your nose because you think it's disgusting and gross. And that's because your mindset, the way you think about it, there are no cravings. So the more you learn about the food, no one ever learns more about processed foods and craves it more. I can tell you that. So anyways, yeah, we've been marketed to our entire lives. Yes, we have been raised by corporations at this point. Yeah, Karen says that. So true. Look at how smoking used to be advertised. And it's not just advertised, folks. You know, the advertising is so omnipresent that we don't even notice it. And cigarettes are a great reference point for where we're at, because we can't even see it because we just accept it as part of the wallpaper. But if you go back into the 60s and 70s, it wasn't just the cigarette marketing, which there was tons of it, by the way, that they've banned. But it was also the subtle things. It was the cigarette placement in every movie and show, watching your favorite actors smoke, normalizing it in every situation. It was going into a restaurant and walking by a cigarette vending machine. It was seeing cigarettes everywhere you went as visual cues. And they restricted all that. And so that has dramatically decreased the desire for cigarettes. But now you look at food, it's the same thing. I mean, you're constantly surrounded by food cues, unhealthy food cues, in the form of, I mean, shit, you walk into a convenience store, you're literally smacked in the face with 3,000 unhealthy food cues. You drive down the street, there's another 100. It's ridiculous, and you don't even realize it, you know? Athena said, oh, wow, now that you mention it, I also ate other snacks that my mind forgot about. Wow, I'm shocked. I only thought of the chocolate, but there's much more stuff. Exactly, Athena. So congratulations. You know, again, I got to remind you, it's not unusual. This is what you're going through, Athena, is literally almost every client I work with. And this is the point I was trying to make with you all, that you're not aware. I know you think you are, but that awareness, you thinking you're aware, is the worst thought you can have, because it leads you right to the road of, no matter what I do, I can't lose weight, and which is almost never true. So I appreciate you, Athena, saying this stuff too, because I think I hope to think it's very insightful for other people listening, because they're all doing the same thing. I can't even. I've done almost 6,000 private weight loss sessions. I've just done so much coaching over the last 20 years. And so this is just normal for me. But it's like, when someone comes to me, it's like, I don't know why I'm eating great. I don't know what I can do to lose weight. I'm already eating great. I'm eating healthy. I don't understand. I think my metabolism must be broken. I never believe that. I never believe that when they come to me. And the reason I don't believe that is because what you've just said, Athena, I've gone through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. I work with very, very smart, intelligent people, and they completely are missing what they're eating. Your eating is a very automatic subconscious process. And just by nature, you're very unaware of it. And so, again, I'm proud of you, Athena, for saying this stuff. And I'm happy for you that you're now on a higher level than you were an hour ago. Because an hour ago, you were confused that you put 5 pounds on you. I don't understand. And you're living in confusion land. And you dieters are all living in confusion land. I don't know how to do this. I don't understand. I don't understand. You all think your body's broken. You all think you're broken. You can't stick to a diet. I don't understand. I don't know what to do. And I'm telling you, the core of this is because you're unawares. I mean, we just watched Athena go through it. An hour ago, she got on here and she goes, I should do this. I'll never do it, but I should go back to this video and just cut out the Athena part so you can watch it in instant timing. Because this is what I do with my clients all the time. Because think about this, right? Athena gets on here and says, I don't understand. Let's see if I can find the comment. I want to read the exact comment you said. It was one of the first ones. Let's see if I can get to this. So Athena says, I'm going to screenshot this. Athena started by going, I gained 5 pounds overnight. I'm so confused. LOL. Is that water weight? So again, I'm not judging you, Athena. This is because this is what everyone's doing. But it's like, I don't understand. I gained 5 pounds overnight. Is this water weight? I'm so confused. You're confused. I don't understand. I don't understand what happened. So you're living in the confusion. You dieters are all living in the confusion, stuck there like a hamster wheel. Athena, for the rest of the day, if we hadn't talked, for the rest of the day, what the fuck? I don't understand. 5 pounds in a day. I don't get this. What's wrong with me? This water weight? Did I drink water or something? What happened? How'd this happen? I don't get it. My body must be broken. I eat healthy. I don't understand. I don't know how this happened. I try everything. It's not going to work. How could it work? I just gained 5 pounds. My body, right? For the rest of the day. And it's not the true story, though. It's fucking bullshit. Yeah, you gain weight. You just ate a bunch of pasta that triggered chocolate. You eat a whole family size thing of Hershey's chocolate. You ate a whole other bunch of snacks you didn't realize. Now you realize that it doesn't feel good to recognize you did it, but at least now you're in the real world. Now at least the confusion can go away, and now you can focus on. You don't sound insane, Athena. I'm telling you, this is all you fucking dieters. So do not laugh at Athena. Do not, because I've done this with way too many of you. I tell the story. One of the classic ones I think is great is I was working with a woman, and she's very, very smart and intelligent, a very, very successful professional woman, very, very smart and intelligent, aware person, seemingly. And she gets on the first coaching call we had, and she goes, well, Jim, I'm here, but I got to be honest, I kind of, my eating's pretty good. So I don't really snack. I don't really overeat. So I don't really know if this is going to help me, but I'm here. I believe you, whatever. Okay. And so I said, listen, when we talked about some stuff, I said, the first step's awareness. Let's just become aware. And I just want to pay attention to what you're doing. Blah, blah, blah. Next week she gets on and she goes, holy shit. I said, what? She goes, every night between 7 and 10, I get up and go to the fridge an average of 6-7 times and grab something to eat. So it's like, and that is, there's hundreds and hundreds of these stories because you're not aware of what you're eating. You know what I mean? And so, and again, the lack of awareness is a problem for sure. But the worst part of it is that you get yourself into a mindset where you can't understand. You take yourself out of the cause and effect physical reality we live in, and you start creating and weaving crazy narratives that are very self-destructive. Things like, no matter what I do, my body won't lose weight. My metabolism's broken. I don't know what's wrong with me. I try everything and nothing works. You start making up these failure stories and you feel absolutely powerless. And that, I believe, is where most dieters are at right now. I think you're all completely apathetic because you're doing this to yourself. You're not seeing things for what they are, and it's making you completely confused. And so now you're in your head making up some fantasy land that's not accurate, and it's setting you up for failure. And we just watched Athena do it. So thank you, Athena. Thank you so much for saying this, because you're all doing this. I guarantee it. And so once you realize you overate, again, you're not happy you overate, but at least now we're in the real world. Now we can say, well, what the fuck? What happened? Why did I eat so much pasta? Why did I snack everything? Where was my hunger at? Where was my emotions at? Is this just a habit I have? Now we can start to diagnose, we drill into it and work to resolve it. But now we're in the real world as opposed to where you could have been for the rest of the week. I don't understand. I don't get it. How the hell did I gain how did I gain 5 pounds of water weight? How do I eat healthy and I gain 5 pounds in one night? My friends didn't do that. My friends are losing weight like crazy. And here I am. I'm eating healthy and I gained 5 pounds. Y'all ever done that? Again, I'm not picking on you, but it's so common, but no one ever points it out, And so once you realize, again, you're better off realizing it and feeling like shit than living in the fantasy land. Joe Mama says the 5 pounds I gained was McDonald's. I'm having difficulty passing the place every day at my home. Okay. See, now we're in the real world and now we can work with that. Okay. Now we can work with that. How do I, and now it starts with, okay, we identified the problem. I keep going to McDonald's. And when I go to McDonald's, I'll put 5 pounds. I'm overeating. It's too much. I'm struggling to drive past it. So now we identify what the problem is. And now we start to articulate the solution. What's the solution? I just drive by there. I become indifferent to McDonald's. I'm excited about going home and eating a healthier meal. I'll eat McDonald's once a week, but I'm going to cut it out most of the time. And I'm going to do it by, planning. Again, I'm giving you a very upper level thing, but this is what we do in the program is identifying the problem in the real world and then going to work on finding the resolution that works for you. But hope that makes sense. Spence says, I love the snow globe idea. Yeah, me too. I've got a bunch of stuff. I show you, I got all these little things around me, little meditating things. I love it. I just seeing them, they bring me peace. Even if they're my visual cues, and they're subtle, but like little toys that I spin around and little Buddha things and little rocks that I like to hold on to. It's smooth. It makes me feel nice and calm and relaxed. I like it. And I suggest you all do that too. Your environment affects you, right? Oh, Jonathan said, you got that Buddha too? I love that Buddha in the globe. I love it. I get a bigger one someday. But I love this. I love Buddhas so much. I love Buddhas. There's something about it. They really do convey something to me. I do a lot of work with them too. I show you something else I do is I like to, one of the theories with crystals, and I don't know if I buy this shit or not, but I like to. I'm a hypnotist. I can believe what I want. But one of the things I like to do, that's what they say with crystals is they hold energy, and whatever. So it's like I like to really deepen my connection with these little trinkets I have is I will also hold this. And sometimes with this one, I might look at it more. This one, I might feel it while I'm doing it. But I will like meditate with my eyes open. I will calm myself down, I'll relax. And I will do this while I look at it. And I like watching the snow go around. So I'll kind of shake it up first. But then I'll watch it as the snow glows, as the snow falls and floats around, and I'll relax myself. I'll calm myself down, one focus of attention, and I'll create this calm, relaxed state while I look at it. So I'm anchoring this state of being calm and relaxed to doing this and watching it. So that all of a sudden, someday I come in here and I'm freaking out, I'm stressed out. I got a little strategy I can use and it helps, So again, there's so many fun things you do with your mind when you know how to use it, Santina says, is it too late to join the group that just started? It's funny you say that. I was just, I was kicking around because I didn't give people much of a chance. I was like, I decided to do it because I've been wanting to do this for a while. Because the big thing I was like, I wanted to spend 4 months with people, and I wanted to work with them intensely. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I let people know for about 3 days, let them get on a wait list, and then I only let the wait list people join. And I only let the wait list people join that joined in the first 3 days because I wanted people that were really, really fired up and motivated. But then I said to myself, like, Jesus, I didn't really give people a chance to join. So I don't know. If you're interested in joining the group, let me know. I was kicking around maybe opening up this weekend, but I don't know. If you're interested, let me know. It's $3,000. So, again, it might be, out of your financial range. I don't know. But, and if you want to join a group, I have other programs that are constantly going as well. So, but if you're interested in joining my boot camp, let me know your situation. And I don't know, because we just had our first class today and we'll see. Rebecca says, I'm horrible at relaxing. Yeah. Join the club. I was horrible at relaxing when I started, but it's, it's like saying, well, I'm terrible at brushing my teeth. Well, okay. But you might want to get good at it. That's all I'm going to say. I hear you're terrible at it, but you may want to dedicate some time and energy to it. It's pretty important. relaxing is even more important than that. So I get it, but it's it's a skill. I can't tell you enough. I'm as unrelaxed as a person can be. I really believe that. And I've spent 30 years dedicating to it because it's that important. But again, it's a skill. If you practice, you get better at it. Deanna says that. Yeah, Deanna definitely said that, I don't know what, I'm doing everything pretty well. I don't think I snack much, I tell you, listen, folks, if you're overweight, your weight's a reflection of what you're eating. And that's that. What's up, Vicky? How's it going? Vicky says, so true. Habits, emotions, and behaviors getting the better of me sometimes, especially at night. Yeah, of course. And that's going to happen too. That's another conversation. But yeah, you're never going to be perfect all the time. What's up, Carla? How's it going? It says, is it possible that from working out for 3 years, I have more weight, but it's not all fat? I'm trying to feel better. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's definitely likely that if you've been working out a lot for 3 years, that you've gained a lot of muscle, and muscle's heavier than fat. And yeah, absolutely. It could be part of that. No doubt. Mom on TikTok says, I'm such a big fan of yours. I watch and read quietly in the back. It helps me eat based on my instincts. Super job, Mom on TikTok. Great. Make sure you get my link. So I say this to all you lurkers and people that listen all the time. Make sure, because I find people that are even engaging with me sometimes. They say, did you listen to hypnosis and watch the video? I haven't done that. Come on. It's like, it'll take you a minute, 2 minutes to go to my bio, click the link, get the hypnosis session. Because as soon as you do that, even if you don't listen to the hypnosis session or watch the video, I email you every weekday. And it's content. It's just straight content. It used to be part of a program I charged for, and it'll bite by bite. It's there. And some days it'll resonate and some days, this is stupid, but each day it's a out of left field idea for weight loss typically. And it helps build up that mindset and a new approach. So make sure you do that if you haven't done that yet. Jim said, of course, I don't like working out, but I want to look like that so much. I can't believe anyone genuinely loves working out. It's just for looks. Yeah, I agree, Jim. I agree that that's pretty much absolutely true. And I think the idea is for you, Jim, I would suggest, why do you want to look like that? And I've gone through those phases myself too. And the solution that cured me of that is why do I want to have big muscles? Why do I want to have abs? Why? And that is I find that a fascinating question to ask. And it's a really enjoyable journey to take, especially motivation wise. I think you really uncover a lot of gold when you start reflecting on that and you start wondering, why do I want to look like a bodybuilder? And feel free to answer it here too, by the way. Why do you want to have big muscles and have limited body fat and have like the perfect body? Why do you want that? That's all the girls love me. Which girls though? Which girls are you looking for? And I'm not judging anything, you know what I mean? So it's, again, to each their own. You choose the things that you value. But I find a lot of times people get wrapped up in wanting to look like a certain person so everyone loves us. Well, why? What do you want? And maybe that's what you want. I've talked to these people. I've literally had this conversation with them. I said, what's your motivation? I want to get laid. Okay, great. Who am I? Great. That's fine. But a lot of people, that's not really their main goal. You know what I mean? Like they value relationships, or they value personality and humor and intelligence and doing interesting, whatever, and then they get caught up in that and they wonder why they're miserable still. But anyways, Daisy says, what is your daily eating structure? When do you start eating? I hesitate to answer this question because who gives a shit what my eating structure is? I've built it around me, my lifestyle, my preferences, what works for me. So I hesitate to answer it because dieters always just want to be told what to do so they can force themselves to try and do it. And so my way may or may not resonate with you, but I will tell you the way I figured it out is, where do I feel best? And so I'll just leave it with that. I know it's unsatisfying. Satan says, why do I want to eat everything in sight after slightly eating more than planned? Satan, look up the what the hell effect. What the hell effect? You should all look this up, but Satan, especially you, because that will answer that. Jonathan said, oh my God, you literally are saying exactly what I'm thinking. The wedding is still a month away and I'm worried I gain weight after being at goal. That would be insane. All that work for nothing. I know. I do say the quiet part out loud because I don't want you to have this little fear in the back of your mind. I want you to take the fear out and address it, and I can help you address it. So I'm not worried for you, Jonathan, but in order to address it, we got to acknowledge it and recognize it. Okay. And so let's just find out what happens. As long as you're staying on track and everything's fine, we don't have to worry about it. But if all of a sudden you find yourself running out of motivation, be careful. And what I would suggest is if you do, I will let you know, a little spoiler here, is if you do start to feel yourself slipping, I would let yourself intentionally slip for probably 2 weeks, a bit, and you might put 5-10 pounds on, but then you'll set yourself up basically for the last 2 weeks to be cutting time, just like as if you're going into a fight. And that's again, like I said, I always tailor my strategies for certain people. I would never use this strategy with my clients, but Jonathan's in a unique situation. And so I like to meet you guys where you're at based on your goals and outcomes, not based on what I think's best. So I'm here for you, Jonathan. I'm proud of for what you did too, by the way. Satan says, I'm so impressed by Jonathan. I wish I could diet for that long. I don't know why that long. It's been 2 months. You want to diet for 2 months and then put the weight on? Is that what you want, folks? You want to be able to diet for 2 months and then put all the weight back on? 3 months, then put the weight back on? I'm joking with you, Satan, but I'm pointing out the dumb shit, right? And I'm impressed by Jonathan because he has done it and he's committed to it. I'm always impressed by action. But Jonathan's plan it's a shit ass plan, folks. Jonathan's the epitome of a diet right now. He's literally in 100% diet mode. And great, lose 40 pounds. It's great to lose 40 pounds. It's not so great to put the 40 pounds back on, though. And that's what 95% of dieters do. So, I'll be here to talk to Jonathan. We'll see where he goes. But anyways, Lorena says, I've noticed that the less stress I have, the less I have cravings. That's very interesting how that can work, right? A lot of you might notice that, by the way. KT says, Jim, how much of weight and hunger do you think is hereditary? That's a good question. I don't think you're ever going to get a definitive answer. So I think that knowing what I know, I think it's primarily mindset. And so I think that you can override a lot of physiological factors that were there genetically from your parents and from being a human being and your ancestors. I think you can mitigate a lot of those with the right mindset, is what I think. Certainly, KT, you can. I mean, you're here every day. So you've got resilience and you've got commitment. That's all you need in my world. Because what you don't have is any plan. You have no granular understanding of how to deal with your emotions, how to change your habits, how to influence your behavior strategically. So you've got a knowledge gap. But what you have on your side is consistency and commitment. And I think with those things, anyone can succeed, Marina says, is there any good Netflix docs or series about food? There is, and they go in one ear and out the other. They all sound the same. It's like my books. They're just all the same at the end of the day, eventually. There's very few outliers, but there's great ones. And there's some I'm meaning to watch. I'm going to pick up the documentaries coming soon, but I can't even think right now. I could go and look. I don't feel like it. I'll think about that. I'll talk about more documentaries in the future. I'm kind of getting back into my documentary phase. So I will talk about those as we move forward. Connie says, do you have any documentary recommendations to encourage the grossness of processed food? I'm a visual learner. Someone told me they use glitter when making Doritos. How can I still think they taste good? Oh, that's gross. I haven't heard that one. Good. KT's here. So yeah, Super Size Me's great. Turns out that he just passed away. Turns out he had alcohol abuse. Isn't that crazy? And even when he was in that documentary, he was an alcoholic and he had tremendous negative impacts from the alcohol abuse on his liver. So I found that interesting. Food Inc. is good. Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead's really good. Watch out for the juicing shit, though. Just be careful of that. The juicing, sometimes extreme solutions are better than, I think carnivores like this, ketos like this, juicing's like this. They're better than the standard American diet for a lot of people, especially when they're really into it. But it's not really the healthiest thing either. And it's oftentimes not sustainable. Documentaries. I know they just go in one ear and out the other. So yeah, foods. I'm more about books lately. Swallow This, I thought was really good. The Dorito Effect, I thought was incredible, book wise. I think the books are better than the documentaries. I will tell you that. I think documentaries, what happens with documentaries is I swear the same people make all these documentaries because they all follow the exact same, like, layout. And I don't know. I prefer the books better, but yeah, there's good documentaries. Why can't I remember any good documentaries? I haven't really watched documentaries in a while. Anyways, I'll look them up. I can't even think right now. I will say that because I had a group coaching call this morning. It went a bit. It was our first call there, and that definitely used my brain up a little bit. Lorena says, Jim, what's your ways to manage stress? Some habits. Oh yeah, my whole life is built around managing stress. I will tell you. I will let you know that. What do? I mean, I meditate every day. I do a little bit of yoga at least every single day. I have my routines every day, which brings me a lot of peace. I drink my water every day. I eat my salad on my clean days. I like to take my dog for a walk or play with my dog regularly. I like to play basketball. I like to go for walks. I like to play guitar. I like to learn. I like to coach. I love working. So my whole life is literally built to minimize as much stress as possible, I still feel stress. So I still work on relaxation. Oh, Forks Over Knives. Yeah, that's a great one. I love Forks Over Knives. Big fan of that book, that documentary. Thanks for letting me know that one. Julie says, I had to deprogram myself from tracking food obsessively and constantly worrying about the scale. No. It was heartbreaking to gain back 85 pounds after dieting. Never again. Yeah, and Julie's in the program. So it's nice because, again, as I say this all the time, but the people in my program, one of the best parts of it is that people, they're intelligent, they're action-oriented, they're willing to do the work, but they've never learned this material. And so I love that when they come into the program, we get to utilize a lot of their experience. You've done lots of diets and maybe they haven't worked for you ultimately, but you still gained a lot of wisdom from those in terms of what to do or what not to do. And so I like to think Program Yourself then really activates a lot of that wisdom and knowledge so that you can, use your experience to craft the plan that works for you, customly around you. Yeah, Vicky says progress, not perfection, and all or something keeps me in the game for a long haul. Yeah, absolutely. Those are big mantras in the program. Let's see. Then he said, no, you're not screenshotting it. I was generally so confused the whole day before this. It's funny, isn't it? But Athena, imagine you spend a whole day so confused. It's so funny. And again, I'm not picking on you because it's so common. So common. Dr. Helen says, when I lose weight and love the weight I get to do, when I lose weight, the weight I get to, I can't sleep, have a lot of energy. What can I do? When I lose weight, I can't sleep. I have a lot of energy. What can I do? Yeah, that can happen, right? As you start to, again, that's why I say with Program Yourself, then it's a holistic, comprehensive approach to mastering your weight. And I think what comes as part of that is that when you start to make a change over here, it can impact what's going on over here. And so if you start exercising more, it may cause you to have more energy at bed when you try to go to bed at your normal time. And so we need to realize that this whole thing is malleable and influencing everything else. And so you might start exercising more and that impact, or you might eat better and now it affects your sleep. So sometimes oddly, the answer might be to go to sleep a little later, go to sleep. Sleep's a whole thing in of itself. So I don't get too deep into that, but maybe going to sleep a little later might be an answer. Maybe working out and burning some of that energy off might be an answer. So it's hard for me to give you a specific answer, but I would say the process is to say, how can I manage this? What can I do to sleep better? Well, what's the problem? I have too much energy at my bedtime. When I typically went to bed and I was tired, now I got a lot of energy. And so we can work to dissipate the energy by exercising or doing something else, or we could push our bedtime later. You know what I mean? Those are just two, reflexive answers that may or may not work. But if you keep asking the question, how can I influence my sleep positively so I go to sleep and sleep well, you'll probably get somewhere positive. Right? Oh, yeah. What did you say? Consistency over, consistency over, consistency over. Curveball says, what is your schedule for lives? My schedule for lives is Monday through Friday, usually around noon. And I'm usually on here an hour or two each day. Consistency over, what do I say? Consistency over, what's consistency better than? What is it that dieters always do? The consistency is better than. I'll have to think about that. What's up, Don? Don says, I didn't want to look like a bodybuilder, but I want to be strong. Yeah. And it's pretty hard for a woman to look like a bodybuilder, typically. So I hear that a lot from women. But one thing I did learn from talking to all my fitness people is that it's very difficult for a woman to look like a bodybuilder. You're going to look like a healthy, strong woman, most likely. Consistency over perfection. No. Consistency over. KT got it. Consistency over intensity. You guys with the diets, you get too intense, right? You jump into your day one being so intense, or your workout so intense. You're eating perfect intense plan. I'm going to count every calorie. No carbs in my plan. That's intense, right? So instead, we take consistency over intensity. If you optimize towards consistency, then I think you're gonna get way better results, because all big successes are the accumulation of small successes. That's it. You can't just achieve a giant success in a day or a week or a month. It's the accumulation. And to accumulate things, you have to be consistent. So it's consistency over intensity. I'm just messing with you guys. That's an example of an open loop, and which is a whole psychological concept that if you don't close the loop, it sticks in your brain a little bit. They use this with commercials. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. And you ever know, like in commercials, like as soon as it gets to the best part of the show, it's like cliffhanger commercial. Because why? Because you're not going to change that channel because you want to find out what's going on. It's an open loop and you want to close it. And so you'll suffer through the commercials to get to that. So anyways, I'm just joking with you all to help you install a little bit more. You may remember now consistency over intensity a little more easily. Daphne says, "Where are you looking? Your eyes are going everywhere." I don't know. I got my yard, and sometimes the dogs go out there. Sometimes I see squirrels. Sometimes I see all sorts of stuff. Jim says, "LOL, it's so embarrassing, but it's true. I think I would easily find a girlfriend and feel incredible, but working out my whole life seems miserable." Yes, that's what I mean, Jim. That's what we call an incongruent goal. Part of you thinks working out all the time is miserable, and part of you thinks getting a girlfriend would be incredible. So part of you thinks it's going to be miserable, part of you thinks it's going to be incredible, and you get this tug of war effect, and you get nowhere. Because where's the tug of war, right? They're both equally matched, and so it goes this way for a little bit, it goes this way a little bit, goes this way a little bit, goes this way, and you end up in the exact same spot you started. That feel familiar, Jim? Jim, have you ever tried working out intensely before? Is this the first time you ever tried working out a lot? So again, what I would say to you is this, and again, there's no judgment. Here's what you want. But if you looked like a bodybuilder, if you had big muscles, and it's because when you're jacked up as a guy, or if you're a woman, if you're in super duper top level shape, I'm talking like top 15% of the population shape, cut, big muscles, biceps, pythons, right? Abs, thin, very little body fat, cut up. Okay. When you see that, subconsciously, okay, that's a person that dedicates a lot of time, energy, and effort into how they look. Nothing wrong with that. They value how they look a lot. And whether it's a male, female, anything in between, you see someone that has an outlier physique, that's because they value it in an outlier way. It's really important to them. And so now what you're going to do is you're going to attract people that value that a lot. And if that's what you want, great. A lot of guys I talk to, that's what they wanted. That's what they got. They were happy. Great. But sometimes people, that's not what they want. And what they do is they put themselves in a situation to attract people that they're not really interested in. So again, this works both ways. You see a woman who wears lots of makeup, does lots of time, you could tell, put on face, hair, all this here. Again, nothing wrong with it. They clearly value what they look like. They value the superficial thing. And again, I know superficial a lot of times is seen as a negative thing, but I don't mean it that way. I just mean there's a lot of work going on what's going on the outside. Does that mean they don't value what's going on the inside either? Absolutely not. But it does convey something. And so again, I would suggest that you get congruent what girlfriend you're looking for, just to make sure, and just go think about it a little deeper and get congruent, So Jonathan, you can start your program the day after the honeymoon is over. Jonathan won't start this program. These guys, they need to. It is funny. I've noticed lately, I've seen a number of guys joining the program, which, it's no secret that the majority of people in my program are women, no doubt about it. But we will see. Maybe Jonathan will just figure it out. Maybe just lose the weight and keep it off forever. After the honeymoon is over. I like that, Don. Carisi says, lost 20 pounds doing ADF, stopped, then gained it all back. ADF. Tell me it's not. Tell me it's not all day. Is ADF all day fasting? What's ADF? Let's find out here. What's ADF? It's not Alliance Defending Freedom. It's not an automatic document. It's not an automatic document feeder. ADF fasting. I bet it is. Let's see. Okay. Let me see all day. Alternate day. Yeah. Okay. Alternate day fasting. Yeah. I know I haven't seen it as ADF, but anyways, yeah, and that's what's going to happen because not eating for a whole day is stressful and tiring. You don't look forward to it. You don't want to do it, so you're not going to keep it up. So what's the point? Who wants to lose weight for a little while? Dieters do. Dieters love losing weight for a little while. So I'm not saying no one loves it. Most dieters love it, right? Because diet has a 85 to 95% failure rate to keep the weight off. So I guess if you just keep dieting, it must be because you love losing weight and then putting it back on so you can lose it again. I guess, yeah, that'd be addictive, I guess. Julie said, most of the healthy food I loved while on Weight Watchers, but didn't have the tools to deal with stress and the destructive effects of processed foods and sugar. Yeah, of course, Julie. Julie, I'm so proud of you because Julie is really such a great example of really developing the mindset piece, and I would say, Julie, you are just, the way you're going through the program is really, I think, perfect. It's really just like the way you're doing it. I really love. I love it. Consistency over perfection. They're very similar, though. I will tell you that too. Consistency over perfection. But perfection's intense, though, right? That's the thing. Success is based on a lot of little successes. Yeah, absolutely. Right. What's a big success? A 50-pound weight loss. So you can't lose 50 pounds, right? You chop your arm or leg off. Okay, you did it, but you cheated, right? The only way to lose 50 pounds is to lose it a pound at a time over a period of time, right? How do you make lots of money? You don't just make $1 million. You know what I mean? Everything is, in my world, guitar. Right? I don't just become a good guitar player. It's like I play it for 30 years and I start with chords and then I start to learn scales and then I start to learn rhythm and then I start to, you know what I mean? It just builds on itself. I keep learning things, but I can't just learn it all at once. Deanna says, I'm definitely at a base camp, going to have to figure out how to tune things again. Yeah, but who gives a shit? Because the base camp metaphor is like Everest, right? When you can't climb Everest, you don't just climb Everest. This actually piggybacks right on the successes based on a lot of little successes. You don't just climb Mount Everest. You climb a little bit to a base camp. You acclimate to that altitude. You climb a little bit more to the next base camp. Acclimate, climb a little bit more, right? That's the natural order of progress and achievement. And so for Deanna, who's been in the program a little bit, what are you down, Deanna? I forget what your weight loss is so far. I forget where you're at. But Deanna started with not that much weight to lose to begin with, but she's down, I forget how much. And then she had the summer, which for her, kids come home and it's like more social, and she lives a really fun, exciting life, right? So I think Deanna wanted to lose like 20 pounds total, and she's down 11 pounds, say. Okay. And we'll stay in what? I don't know, 6 months, let's say. And 6 or 7 months. And so she drops 11 pounds. Now she's a yo-yoer, right? In the past, right? She really focused, do something extreme, lose the weight, put it back on. So it's like the consistency, the maintenance has always been the challenge. It is for all of you dieters. And so she drops 11 pounds. Is, oh shit, here comes the summer. here comes the summer. You know what I mean? And this summer, and again, Deanna's lucky, right? She has a really nice life. She has social, she has nice relationships, she got great kids, she got a husband, she got nice places socially, good food around, good wine, right? It's a nice life. And so during the summer, it's more social. And summer has always been kind of like the all or nothing thing, like check out of it. I'll kick it back again in September. And so I look at Deanna as a huge success story so far because she drops 11 pounds and oh shit, here comes the summer. Now she lost 9 pounds. Oh shit, here comes the summer. Oh shit. And she went through the summer. In Program Yourself Thin, we talk about all or something. So now she gets to practice being something. Yeah, I'm not perfect. I'm good. My kids are around. Kids are, if you don't know, when kids come, when kids are around you and they know they got you wrapped around your finger because they know you're going to leave in September. And so it's like, oh, no, I'm not going to be here forever. Why don't we go out and eat? Why don't we go to Starbucks? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? I'm not going to be around. Why don't we do this? And you do it. And it's hard, right? Wine, food, going out, friends, kids, all this stuff. And so, oh shit, here comes the summer. And so she doesn't freak out. She doesn't quit. She doesn't disappear for 2 months. She shows up. I'm in maintenance mode, something mode. And what happens? She dropped 2 more pounds. That's never happened in her life. And so now she gets to the end of the summer, which she enjoyed the hell out of. And she's 2 pounds lighter. And now she's at this other base camp. She's normalized to this new weight. She's realized she doesn't have to be perfect with it. She realized she can take a couple months and be not perfect with her eating, be something. And she maintained her weight and dropped 2 more pounds. Never would have imagined that. And now she starts the fall identifying more as being lighter. Now really starting to believe that she's going to be able to do this forever because I just did it during an off time. And now she's fulfilled. She's enjoyed her kids. She's enjoyed social situations. She's enjoyed food. She's enjoyed wine, moderated ways. She didn't just eat the way she used to. She did the something mode. She minimized the damage. She moderated what she was eating and drinking to the point that she still lost 2 pounds. She didn't skip going out. She didn't say, no, I can't have wine. I can't have food. I can't take you there. I can't spend time with you. I can't do this right now. She did all those things. She said, I really did enjoy summer. And I'm starting the fall in a really good mindset. This is the thing that you dieters have never experienced in your lives. And it's the whole game. Now she's in the fall and the kids have gone back to school. Now she's got more time, more energy, less social stuff going on, more focus, more energy to dedicate to this. And so now it's the next climb to the next base camp. But maybe in this metaphor, it's climbing down. I don't know when they climb down Everest if they have to do the same thing. I could never look that up, but I guess that's the more accurate metaphor, right? As you start at the higher weight, you get down 9 pounds and you kind of acclimate at base camp. Holy shit, you lost 2 more pounds, but now you're focused, motivated, fulfilled, feeling good, energized to drop the next 8 pounds or whatever you want to drop in a way that's going to maintain and last. But the big difference between Deanna now and most dieters is that she now has an idea in her mind of what it's like to maintain over a summer. And that's the big difference. But I hope that all makes sense to you. You know what I mean? Like compare that. Yeah, I'm climbing up. It's reversed. Yeah, it's a guy. So that metaphor might fall apart a little bit, but the point of that, you put effort in and then you have to acclimate a bit. That acclimation is so important. I was the same way. My summer, I was definitely off track with certain things. Eyes open, knowing I was doing that. And that's okay. That's part of life. And now as I was about to get back to my routine this week and I got COVID and that threw it off again. But it's like, next week I'm excited to get back to my schedule and start engaging at a higher level. But that's life. You can't just always be 100%. That's why your all or nothing mindset's bullshit. Because you can't be all the time. You can't be all the time. And then you can't be nothing. Both of those, are unsustainable, Yeah. Next step, maintain over holidays. But now, Deanna, again, think how much better you are set up for holidays now that you've had the summer you've had. Because now you have the belief, and no one can take that away from you, that you can go through the summer and enjoy yourself and go through it moderately. And holy shit, you still lost weight and you still enjoyed yourself. And so now you're getting rid of that dieting bullshit of, well, if I got to lose weight, that means I can't go out and eat. I can't enjoy my summer. I can't enjoy the holidays. That's gone for her. You know how powerful that is? You know how important it is to not feel that way? I hope you realize how important it is. Yeah. Yeah, Deanna says that's the excitement. It's the excitement. Yes, 100%. Right. So, Deanna, it's 11 pounds. That's it. You fucking clowns. It's like, it's not about how much weight you lose. It's about what weight you're able to live at. And Deanna is light years ahead of any dieter I know. Who gives a shit if you can lose 50 pounds? Jonathan, I bring you up because I know you can take this, but Jonathan's lost almost 40 pounds in like 2 months. Extreme shit that he knows is going to be hard. He's got a huge motivator in front of him. So he's an outlier in that sense. But again, what's going to happen on the other side of it? So I don't give a shit if you can lose 50 pounds in a month. I don't care, because what happens the month after? That's what I'm concerned with. That's what I'm focused on. And Deanna has got firm foundation under her. For the first time in her life, she's gone through a summer where she's enjoyed herself, and that stresses too. It hasn't all been fun. There's stressful things in her life too. She's managed all those things and dropped 2 pounds. That's more important than anything. It really is. So if you know, you know. If you get it, you get it. Moses says, how do I stop halfway instead of eating the whole bag? Oh, Moses. No way. You can't start that. That question's a horrible question, and you'll probably never be able to do it. We got to prevent a lot of the problems. And there are strategies, but I won't even give them to you. But anyways, Jim says, I always compare myself to those people I want to be like, that I think if I look like that, I'd be motivated enough to keep it up. I did try to work out a lot a few months ago and it backfired. I just binged afterwards, but my mind keeps telling me I will fail. Yeah, I mean, you probably will, Jim. I mean, just to be honest, I don't know. Maybe you got to do this 5 more times or 10 more times before you realize it's not for you. I don't know. You know what I mean? But yeah, your brain's saying all sorts of bullshit. Your brain says all sorts of bullshit, folks. So much of this. Yeah, Deanna said the same thing. Oh, Moses, once the bag's open, it's probably over. I would agree with that. There absolutely are strategies, but again, they're strategies I would share. They're what I would consider to be advanced strategies that you would need to have a foundation under you. And so for me to share them is just silly because they're not going to work. Oh, it just doesn't work. Well, again, if I show you guitar, if I show you like, advanced, guitar scales and modes, does it not work because you don't understand what the fuck I'm talking about? Or does it not work because you don't know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? So again, there's that. But yeah, back to you, Jim. Again, all of our minds say dumb shit to us, and it's our job to figure out what the dumb shit is and to, not believe it, But again, Jim, you may have to go through this 5 or 6 more times before you finally come to the other side. I don't know. That's part of the process too sometimes. But at the very least, go through this with a little bit more awareness of where your mindset's at so you can learn more from it. Athena said, I accidentally told my mom that I'm trying to lose weight, and it's been a nightmare ever since. I totally forgot what to say. I know this sounds like such a dieter thing, but God, I'm terrified for Thanksgiving and Christmas. It is such a dieter thing to say. And I would say that's where a lot of people are. I think it's so funny. That's why I ran the boot camp specifically. The boot camp I ran was a 4-month boot camp. And I specifically chose to start it in September. I'll do another one probably starting in January, but I wanted to do the September one because I was like, this is going to be the committed people. And I literally got emails from people who said, that's the worst time possible. We're going to go right through the holidays. I said, it's the perfect times. I didn't want you people in the program because I know dieters they've already mailed in the year. How many of you, give me some hearts. Let's be honest. How many of you already mailed in the year? I haven't gotten the results yet. Oh shit. Summer's over. What's the point now? I got Thanksgiving, Christmas coming up. Fuck it. Catch me on January 1st. Catch me in January. I'm not doing this. And it's that mindset that's so much the problem, And so you're not alone, Athena. I think that it is a very dieter thing to say, and most people are dieters. So at the very least, you're not alone. You know what I mean? Very, very common for people to say that. KT says, my only way to manage this is don't even get started eating something I know I can't stop eating. I agree with that too. It's like, remember that commercial? I bet you can't eat just one. I was like, I acknowledge they won that bet. I acknowledge that. So I let them, they got me on that one. So I just won't start. You know what I mean? Yeah, Deanna, right? Well, Deanna's got a whole different mindset. Deanna's in the program though, too. And she says, no way, we're just getting started. Of course. We don't feel 4 months is a lot of time, but again, Deanna doesn't have this all or nothing mindset of like, oh, the holidays, what am I going to do? People in my program have a something strategy for dealing with that, which is crucial to mastering your weight, Jonathan, afraid on my downfall. I absolutely am not. I want you to be the outlier who loses 40 pounds in 2 months and keeps it off forever. I really do. I want that for all of you. I don't wish for anyone negative things for anyone, but at the same time, I can't just act like the negative shit isn't the most common outcome either. That's not fair either. Yeah. Gen T says the same thing. Lots of year left. Absolutely. Tina says my mom said I should just wait for January to do it and that it's impossible right now during the holidays. But I'm just gonna let that sit there. And again, Athena, I'm always so happy you're here because you always say the quiet stuff out loud, and I really appreciate that. Because I know you're expressing what a lot of people are thinking, and it's my job to kind of just let that sit there. And is that a supportive thought that's going to help you? Is that even true? You want to waste 4 months? Like, why? What magical thing happens in January? What magical thing has happened the last 10 Januaries for you all? What happened? KT says, not me. I'm determined to see results in 2024. Still working on it. Good job, KT. On TikTok said, I'm starting now. Back to school mentality. Yeah, exactly. Back to school mentality. You guys should all utilize that. Optimize it. How do I stop binge eating? That's a big question. That again, I can't answer right now, but I will suggest it's not so much about stopping binge eating as it is preventing it. And the main way you prevent binge eating is to learn what happened after you binge eat, reflect on what started it. And it's usually your hunger. You were too hungry from over restricting. You were too emotional, didn't know how to deal with it. Or it's just kind of a habit you have, or it's a little bit of all three. And so you start to diagnose what led to the binge in the first place and then work on avoiding it rather than trying to stop it once it starts. See, Photo says, just following you this summer, listening to your lives, I was able to make small changes and have lost 18 pounds since June. All right. Getting over the all or nothing has been key. Absolutely. Well, great job. Super proud of you. And that's good enough to take a screenshot of. That's awesome. Whoops. What's going on here? Yeah. But of course, God, the idea that if you take that idea and put it out in front of your mind and say, yeah, I think the best way to manage my weight is to not think about it for 4 months and then focus on it in January. Sit with that and then think about how silly that sounds. Yeah, like Vicky says, always work on optimizing all or something. Yes, that's the mindset, right? That we all have. All right. Thuna says, 2 hours already. I know. What the shit? I was going to leave an hour ago too, but all right, everyone. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all so much. This was a great one as usual. A special shout out to Athena. Thank you so much. It really does mean a lot to me for you to say this stuff because I promise you, a lot of people that are listening and not engaging are experiencing the exact same thing. And so it's really, really helpful for them. And hopefully it's helpful for you too as well. But thanks so much, guys. And again, if you're not in my world, please go to my bio, click the link, get the hypnosis session I give you. It's free. It's called The New Thin Me. It's a Kickstart session. Go check it out. There's a video I made for you. That's free. You can go check that out as well. And then I send you emails every day. Those will help you out as well. They're all free. All you need to do is just sign up for them. Click the link in my bio or go to programyourselfthin.com and do that. And podcast is Program Yourself Thin. It's on all the podcast platforms. If you like to listen to this, it's there all the time. Every day we upload those. If you want to talk to me live, get on here, usually around noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. I'm here on all the different channels, and feel free to get on here and ask your questions. And yeah. And again, Vicky says thanks to Jim and thank you, Athena. So again, Athena, I think you're helping a lot of people that more than you even realize. So I really appreciate you being so honest and open. It really is helpful. And then if you're really serious, again, you can always work with me, get my program. You got to cover different options. You can kind of do it on your self version, which is wonderful. And you can work with me coaching wise, at the moment for still a reasonable price, I would say. The least it'll be moving forward. So anyways, those are all your options. Have a super duper day and we'll talk soon. Bye.